congratulations. Welcome to Toronto for this. And what a great, oh my God, this is quite the ride. And I just want to know, like, where in this brain did this come from?
I don't know. I started writing it, I think 5 days before my wife gave birth to our child. And I was nervous about what kind of a world I was bringing this little person into, and where we were headed as a culture, and the kind of the vitriol that seemed to be sort of infecting kind of politics and the way in which we communicate with one another, and the sort of the breakdown of empathy. And so it just sort of poured out of me in this kind of crazy way. And then I started to kind of sculpt it from there. But I think I wanted to deal with the world that we're living in right now.
Yeah, really does make you think about that. And I wanted to ask you what your first reaction was when you actually read this.
This is crazy, but I need to be a part of it. I don't know. I think anything that makes you choose a side on something that just it's a catalyst to make you question yourself or the world around you is good. And even if you don't come to a good conclusion, it's like a pathway for metamorphosis. I'm with that, I'm here for that. So
yeah. Was it a hard character role? First, I want to know how much you was it an instant bond with the four girls? That's first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was. Like, when I read the script, it was hard not to love them already.
Right.
And then I met them, and I was like, oh, he nailed it. And then, it was. And he dropped us off in Mardi Gras, so Mardi Gras. So
if you can't bond there, my friend, honestly. But
it was interesting. They never met before, and I was like, just go out and just have fun and get to know one another. And I remember the next day, they come over for rehearsals, and I got this knock on the door. I open up the door, and I'm like, and I see the four of them, and I'm going, oh, they're a gang.
Yeah.
They will kill for each other. They will,
they will get manicures together.
Yeah, they're in it for the long haul. And it was, that kind of chemistry is it's really hard to manufacture. Their friendship and their bond and love for one another is real, and I think it shows on screen.
I want to know what had to be cut out of here. Like, how far do you go? When do you know to kind of have to pull back the reins, or you just let it go, and then after an editing, you're like, I don't know, right?
Look, I think that's a large part of it, especially with this movie, because I knew going into it that I was dealing with some very sensitive issues. And then I was dealing with things that tend to be kind of these lightning rods in terms of our kind of political and cultural sort of discourse. And so I wanted to make sure that during shooting, I crossed the line so I could know when to pull it back. Right. And I think that the editing process was a humbling one. And the feedback that I got from people during that process was humbling, because certain things, like, I would change one scene and suddenly the movie would start to feel more nihilistic, or it wouldn't feel as emotional as it did before. And I think part of what's tricky about this film and trying to get it right is I wanted a film that was that's fun and that's smart, but that's also really emotional and has heart. And you leave this theater, I think kind of emotionally drained, but with this elation in some way.
It totally makes you think. And I quickly wanted to ask you about internet, and did it make you think differently about it and stuff? Because you're a musician, you're out there, Google your name, there you come up. You don't know what crap's going to come out about you. How do you become kind of like put up that shield and go, I can't let this bother me?
I haven't figured that out yet. That's why I think this movie is important. Like, we haven't figured out a barrier between us and the public, and like us, not even the public, just like me and anyone else behind a screen. It's like we're just trying to figure it out. And so that's why I love this film, because he didn't really push an agenda or a direction. He was just like, this is what it is. Like, question yourself. Like, if you don't like what you see, it's just a reflection, of the times.
Yeah, and also, do you want to put up a barrier? Because then you're starting to close yourself off emotionally.
Sure. And
which is the
yourself.
other.
Like you're saying, like, there's this person, they're sponsored, and you're
this is the sanitized, safe version that I know everyone will like and be okay with, and it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I think the villain of this movie is not social media. It is righteousness. It is people who are certain that they are right and that they are just, and that is scary. That's a horror movie, and I think that's the real kind of villain of this film and what it's about.
Yeah.
is that we need to start looking at one another with a bit more empathy, and looking at situations, and looking at the context of something and the nuance of something, and taking into the kind of the full kind of human experience when we're making these judgments about one another for whatever reason it is,
Yeah.
whether I agree with it or disagree with it. Like, I think that's the key to it, is we're dealing with other human beings.
Yeah, I know. It's scary stuff, honestly. But you've, like I said, I could talk forever, but I gotta get out of here. But
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You did a great job, and you're a brilliant writer, by the way. Congratulations on everything. The Wizard of Lies, like, holy crap, was that awesome.
Oh,
So
thank
congratulations
you.
on everything, and you did a great job.
Thank you.